concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin becomes younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
I just love those testimonials. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Testimonial Tuesday for September 19th, 2023. It's Gregory Mascari. And if I could ask everyone to just keep your video off, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Let's see, I'm going to promote myself out. Hold on a second. We'll fix this here real quick. There we go. Okay. Now I'll be spotlighted. I use the spotlight function in LifeWave. So if some of you do pop on, I'll still be, me and our guest doctor, who I'll be introducing in a few minutes, will be focused. So we welcome you to this Testimonial Tuesday, and we split this call kind of in 3 parts. In part 1, we're just going to listen to some testimonials from you. So if you've got a juicy testimonial, maybe even it's one you shared before, but we have a lot of new people on this call. Please raise your hand. You can go down to the reactions icon down to the bottom of your screen and raise your hand, and I'll be calling on you in order. And I look forward to, sharing some really great testimonials with our guests on here tonight. And this is a great call for guests, for, potential customers and brand partners to really get a heartfelt example of the type of benefits that people are getting from our products. That's part 1. In part 2, I'm going to introduce our special guest doctor tonight. He's going to share a little insight like why he got involved and why he's so excited in LifeWave. Then we're going to switch it to part 3. We're going to do some Q&A. So don't start posting your questions now in the chat. But when we switch to introducing Dr. Jeff Hubbard, who's going to be with us here shortly, then you could start adding your questions in the chat, and we'll be taking them somewhat in order. And I won't be able to go back through the chat for all the first half of the call. So don't bother putting your questions in yet, okay? So with that being said, I'm looking for some raised hands, and who's going to be the first brave one to share a testimonial with us here tonight? Not all at once. And Robin sends her love and regard. She's actually doing a little whistle stop tour up in Canada. She was in Winnipeg last night. She was in Winkler today, and she'll be back home here in Bozeman tomorrow. And she just said the energy up there is great. It's palpable. So thank you very much, Christina. And go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Well, I was going to actually tell a story.
Oh, good. I love stories.
Okay. So a year ago, back in March, so about a year and a half ago, my mom had a pacemaker put in. She's 83 years old. And we all know why we use pacemakers. And she's had previously 2 heart attacks and a leaky valve. So she's had some situations. But anyways, so when she went in for her appointment, just like, right after you have that surgery, you have to have like 3 to 5 days, you go into the cardiologist. And he looked at her, and she'd been using the X39 before it, and then she put the X39 after on it. And he looked at her, and he just kept looking at her sore, and he's like, "You are really healing remarkable. I can't believe how well you're healing." And she had no swelling, and she had used 1 Tylenol. And usually when she has surgery or whatever, she uses quite a bit, and 2 at a time. And this time she had used 1, and that is it, and no swelling. So he was like totally amazed. I didn't think a lot about it because you know how that goes. Well, fast forward a year later, and she goes back in there again, and he's like, you are healing like a 20-year-old. Your blood pressure is better than mine, and you no longer need surgery on your leaky valve. What are you doing?
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's so cool. Then he said, I want to research this and get my mom on it.
That is so awesome. Congratulations to you and your mom, Christina. And
Thank
when
you.
you talk about the pain and inflammation, I had some oral surgery about a year ago. The same thing happened to me. I took 1 ibuprofen and that was it. And no pain. I went in for a checkup, no swelling, no black and blue, and they couldn't believe and how fast I was healing and the fact I didn't need the pain pills. So it's really wonderful. So thanks for sharing. And Coach Clarissa, I think you and your beloved husband are shuttling my beloved wife back to Winnipeg tonight. So go ahead and unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Oh, it's Robin.
It's Robin on Coach Clarissa's phone. And I want to
Oh,
say
that's
hi to everybody.
wonderful.
Thanks, Evan, for doing the call. We're driving from Winkler back to Winnipeg. We had a fabulous meeting last night. We patched 5 people in the audience that had pain and or a variety, yes, that had pain and very different kinds of pain, head pain, back pain, knee pain. And none of them had anything dramatic right away. But when we checked in with them later, I mean, one of the women was in tears. And every single one of the 5 people had, amazing relief. And they were just thrilled. And then we just did a meeting in Winkler. And I asked if there was anyone in the room with pain. And there were 2 people. One I patched ahead of the meeting. And they were both in about a level 8 pain, both of them. And one of them's name was Anita from Africa. And she, we put the ice wave on her knee, and she just gave this look to everyone like of disbelief. And she said, I'm completely out of pain. So it was really, really, really fun. And I love it up here in Canada. These people are wonderful. And honey, you're going to have to come back with me.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. They
Thanks
did a
for
great
sharing.
job.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe give Dr. Jeff a nudge because I don't see him in the queue. And just wanted to make sure he's going to be able to join us here tonight. So thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
He's on his way over, Gregory.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so Andrea.
Good evening. I want to share a story about intestines, mine in particular. I have had something that happened in college. I'm 56. And I don't know that it's not something we all want to talk about necessarily, but having positive bowel movements are really, really amazing. And when you never have had those your entire adult life, wow. it's a pretty rotten thing to know where every bathroom is in every locale and being able to make sure you're on the end of a theater row or you're in close proximity because you need to get there when you need to get there. So I started taking X39 about 3 months ago. I have to say, for the first couple of days, it made my intestinal issue, which doesn't flare up very often, but when it does, it's bad. And I had one, and I reached out to Ann and said, "What the heck's going on?" She's like, "That's a good thing. Just go slower." And I went, "Okay, I trust you. I'll go slower." And now I wear X39, all day, and I obviously can't remember what pooping was like when I was a child, but it is remarkable that I no longer have an issue. Not only do I not have a flare up an issue, but I have the most normal, my doctor's like,
Mm.
I have no idea what you're doing, but it's obviously working really well. And I've even tried, this is terrible, but I'm a tester. So I tried eating things that historically would really bother me, and zero issues. So
Oh my gosh.
beyond grateful that that is regulated, something that has been prevalent for me for a very long time.
Well, that's so wonderful, Andrea. No pun intended, but what a relief, huh? That's so
Oh
great.
yeah, there's lots of puns, that's for sure.
Thank you very much for sharing. That's important to all of us. I mean, we don't necessarily like to talk about it, but you know, it's really important to health. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for stepping up. Okay, Marty, maybe you'd like to share. Go ahead, please. You can unmute yourself, Marty. And Joran, I think I'm pronouncing right. Joran, you're next. And if you want to unmute yourself, Marty's unmuted. So go ahead, Marty, and then we'll take you, Joran.
Okay, I have really good news. I've been taking care of, I do home care for veterans and elderly. One of my people has not been able to feel his feet for probably years, and he's been on X39 and Eon and the ice wave patches for 3 months, maybe 4 now. And he has normal feet today, and just in the last 3 days, he is so, he can't hardly believe it. He can feel his feet.
Wow.
Yes, and before, if he touched his feet, it would just send him, they were very tender.
That is
And
so
when he walked, he couldn't
really
feel.
wonderful, Marty. And you know, the primary mainstream medical community say it's impossible for that to happen, but it happens. But it happens.
Gee, imagine that. I have one question I want to check with you.
Sure.
I have a lady who's got some, she's on antibiotics because of a lung problem. You know how they get lung water maybe in their lungs, or anyway,
Yeah.
you know what it's called.
Sure.
I was wondering, would that be glutathione and X39, or what do you recommend?
And I would add Eon to that for its anti-inflammatory capabilities. And and we'll see when we switch over to the Q&A, we'll see what Dr. Hubbard has to say about that. But I think you're on the right track with glutathione, X39, and I would add Eon.
Thank
and
you.
probably on the lung points, lung 1, up here. Great.
For that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Joran, go ahead, please.
Okay, this is actually Jaren.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jaren.
You're good. You're good. I want to go real quick. 2 quick stories that kind of have the same end result. I know, Gregory, you and Robin knew my husband, Donnie, that passed away last year. He had been fighting for a long time that really invasive, obnoxious disease that spreads throughout the body. And 2.5 years before he passed, we got onto the patches. He had been on the patches for 6 months before that metastasized to the bone. He spent 2 years with it spreading throughout his body in the bones. He even had a mass on the top of his head that ate through his skull and went in and was putting pressure on his brain. We have heard, and after I actually heard more from other people, that since then he should have been in excruciating pain. He should have been on morphine patches or fentanyl patches and morphine drips and still been in so much agony he wouldn't have been able to get out of bed. But because of these patches, we lived his last 2 years instead of him suffering through them because he had no pain.
Isn't that wonderful?
That was huge.
The
The second thing about it was after he finally had passed. He's been gone. I decided it was time to do some checking on myself to see a few things and I knew I had a knee that had given me problems for a long time. Not really enough to interfere with anything, but these last few years, it's started. My knee's a little bit weak once in a while if I go up and down stairs, and it doesn't bend like it used to. So I went to an orthopedic to see what was going on, what my options were. And I have that obnoxious disease that gets in and around bones. It's underneath my kneecap, and I now am bone on bone. And I don't have to have a full knee replacement. I don't have to do anything at this point. You know, he says that's an option too, but he did talk about a kneecap replacement, that type of thing. But I opted to do nothing for a while, and he said, that's great. If you're ever going on vacation or something, come on in. We can give you a steroid shot or something. He says that'll take care of the pain, and for while you're on vacation, you can enjoy yourself. And I told him, I said, I really don't have any pain. And he kind of said, well, you're made of sterner stuff than most. It took me 2 days to realize he told me I should have been in pain. And I have no pain.
That's so wonderful, Jaren.
So my biggest point between all of this is we have a lot of people that we sign up, they get on the patches, they're on it for a week or a month or 2 months or whatever. And they say, well, I don't feel anything. It must not be working. And my point with these two stories is maybe that's exactly what you're supposed to feel.
Nothing. It sounds
Nothing.
much like Robin's story when she first tried the patches almost 5 years ago. Quality of life totally went up, because she was out of pain. And we hear that. So the quality and the quantity of life can increase. So thanks so much for sharing that, Jaren. And
Yes.
And I think we had one more person. Your hand seems to have gone down. So if we don't have any more, I'm going to go ahead and shift our call to the next phase. This is probably just a good timing for me to introduce our special guest doctor, and it's Dr. Jeff Hubbard. He's a favorite of many of ours, and he's an MD and has an MS in physiology, and he's started an innovative health and wellness ecosystem that strives to remediate health disparities and tackle chronic illnesses here and abroad. And he's envisioned an innovative platform for holistic healthcare delivery that focused on preventative wellness, not just masking symptoms, and provides superior healthcare to those in most need. And he combines his allopathic medicine background and training with health and wellness and alternative modalities like LifeWave, along with nutritional and lifestyle modification. And Dr. Jeff is impacting lives all throughout America, in Africa, and in the Philippines, and probably elsewhere. He's building an international well care business with the LifeWave products. So Dr. Jeff, if you'd like to turn your camera on, looking forward to seeing and sharing with you this evening.
Hey guys, how's everybody?
Great. Hold on. I think I've got to spotlight you because I'm doing a different function. Add a spotlight, and boom, there you are. Hello, Jeff. Good evening.
Hi, how's everybody?
Oh boy, I'm sure we are all great. All 163 of us are doing quite well tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just thought it'd be good to hear, with such a diverse background in health and sciences and medicine. Why did you get so excited, and why do you remain so excited about the LifeWave technologies and products?
Really great question, Greg. I think because of my background in being a researcher and all of that kind of stuff, I was really impressed with the research that LifeWave conducts. I've been a part of some other nutritional companies, some other direct sales companies in the past, and none of them had the type of really meat that LifeWave presented when I was first introduced. To have, at that time, I believe it was like 85 articles on the website and lots of explanations about how the technology works on YouTube and all of that. So it really made me feel quite confident that the technology works the way that it says that it does. and that there was a lot of credibility and merit behind the technology. And so then it just flat out works after that. I mean, I just started experiencing it myself and started utilizing it with patients who I thought it would be valuable for, and the proof is in the pudding.
Well, why don't you talk about some of the proof? Tell us about some of the most amazing or wonderful stories you've had with some of your patients.
Oh, wow. So I'll tell you about the first one, actually. That was really eye-opening. So one of my dad's college buddies I consider him an uncle. He's got assisted living facilities down in Houston. And so I was going there to visit some family right around maybe about a month or so after I got introduced to LifeWave. And so I was telling him about it. I said, hey, man, this might be of interest to you and your family. And, maybe you could provide this to some of the residents, et cetera. And so he was like, man, I'm really interested in that. Obviously, if you're promoting it, it's got to have some basis. And so there was a gentleman who had an ulcer on his leg. And I'm sure for any of you know when you're caring for an elderly person and they've got some sort of ulcer or something that can get infected or something that can be problematic because they're bedbound, you're really concerned about that. So all the staff and everybody was really worried about this individual, and they were kind of watching him around the clock. They had been trying to get this thing to heal for like 6 weeks unsuccessfully. And so I'm like, okay, let's throw an X39 patch on and just see what happens. So that was Friday evening. Turned around and dropped back by Sunday afternoon before I went back to Dallas. And, the thing went from like this big to like that big, started scabbing over. And, even he was telling us that it was less painful and he was less concerned about it. And so I was like, wow, this thing is real. I got real excited about it after that. And so, I mean, there's been countless different experiences like that. I mean, I was in the Philippines and there was a lady who came out of the audience to get a patching demonstration. And when she took her shoe off, I was like, wow, that is a really bad ulcer that she had on the bottom of her foot. And I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. I was surprised she was able to walk. I mean, this thing was really bad. It was pretty big. And so I threw a couple of X39s on it and an ice wave. And we brought the next person up and kind of began talking to them for a second. And then we went back to her and asked her, well, hey, how are you feeling? Can you give us an update about your concerns? And so, tears just start coming down her face. And she says, for the first time in 7 years, I don't have any pain in this foot. So those are just a couple of hundreds of testimonials and experiences where I'm just like, wow. I mean, it just is a godsend that we have the opportunity to promote and be brand ambassadors for LifeWave, because I mean, the product is just simply, it's revolutionary.
Could you just for a moment talk about the importance of stem cells? Because I've heard you explain it before so succinctly that us lay people could understand it, but how important stem cells are and, the mechanism maybe of LifeWave X39.
Sure. So, I mean, guys, stem cells are the foundational cell of the body. I mean, when we're born, we're almost exclusively stem cells, right? When we're in our mother's womb and embryologically we're growing, literally everything starts from stem cells. And so, when you think about other types of stem cell therapy, they're all harvested from umbilical tissue or the placenta, and then they're cryogenically frozen. So the difference that I explain to most people is that this product, our LifeWave system, helps you to promote your own adult stem cells, which are different than the embryological stem cells. And so I would much rather have my own stem cells doing their job than to have some other ones implanted. That's my own personal preference. I'm sure probably a lot of you agree with me. But the beautiful part about it is because they're such a primitive cell, they have the opportunity to morph into any type of cell tissue. So in the embryological world, there's 3 different types of tissue: the ectoderm, which is our hair, skin, nails, nerves, central nervous system, etc. And the mesoderm is muscle, bone, heart, lungs, kidneys, etc. And then the endoderm is all of your gastrointestinal tract, liver, spleen, all of that good stuff. So these cells have the opportunity to become any one of those 3 cell divisions. And so they can circulate around the body looking for damaged, otherwise compromised, inflamed tissue. And that's what they're drawn to. And then so if they go to the heart and the heart is having a problem, those cells can become heart tissue or heart muscle. Or if they have a problem with your bone, they can go to bone and become a bone cell or a soft tissue ligament or tendon. And so the sky's the limit on what these things can do. And so that's the beauty. And another element that I think is almost like patching 2.0 is this cellular intelligence that we have that recruits these stem cells to the problems that we have. And that's what I'm really intrigued about, because some people have an immediate response. Some people have a longer term response. Some people really want this to happen here. And the body says, no, we're going to fix all of this stuff first, and then we'll come over here and deal with whatever it is you want to do. So, it's just a beautiful system that we have. And I think, David needs some Nobel Prize worthy support, because I don't know anything else on the market that's capable of doing this type of stuff.
That's totally amazing. Well, thank you. That's probably a good kickoff. So let's switch over to a few questions. And I noticed that someone had a question about dry eyes, and she says her eyes sometimes feels like there's sandpaper in there. What you might recommend?
So interestingly, there's a lady here in Dallas who I'm close with, and she's an amazing lady. You know her. She's been to your place, but she uses carnosine over the eye and has done some amazing stuff there. But also X39. So typically we wear this night mask thing. If for people who are familiar with like working overnight, or you're on the plane, or you're somewhere where you don't want the light in your eyes and you're trying to get rest, you can apply those patches to the inside of the mask, and that allows the photobiomodulation to go right into the eye. Or you can just patch on the side or above the eyebrow or below. Just need to get it in close proximity to the eye. But I think one or both of those patches, carnosine or X39, should be really helpful in getting that lacrimal duct to be a little bit more active. I'm not sure, so I guess it all kind of depends on why it's not active also, so if there was some trauma or infection, then maybe there is a slightly different approach, but I think in general, the X39 or carnosine should do the trick.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, here's someone, and I'm just going to make a general disclaimer. Our products are not designed or intended to heal, diagnose, or cure any disease, but they do help the body come back into alignment, homeostasis, and heal itself. So here's someone that has some brain problems caused by a virus causing dizziness and affecting coordination in arms and legs, and just wondering if you had any recommendations.
So, for all the intracranial stuff, we usually recommend the HAT approach or the HAT system, HAT protocol. And so that's energy enhancer and energy, 2 sets of energy enhancer, and then glutathione and eon in the crown. So you literally, guys, you're going to apply the patches inside of a hat and then wear the hat. But you can put it into, a multitude of different things. You just want them to be in the right places on your head. And, most people have hair, so that makes it a little bit challenging to get them to stay in the right place. So it's easier to adhere them to some other item, a hat or something similar, and then wear that.
And so that'd be white in the front and the right, and brown on the left and the rear. And then you said which one's on top?
Glutathione and eon.
Okay, great.
And I don't think that there's a particular benefit or what have you to where they're placed. So whether glutathione's in the front or whether eon's in the front, I don't think it matters. But you just want them to kind of be vertically aligned right there at the top.
Good. So that answers another question somebody had about the HAT protocol. So let's see what else we have here. HAT protocol. We got that one for you, Linda. Okay. And so Andrea was wondering what you'd recommend for a friend as a condition from a tick bite and has severe issues.
those issues are so nasty. It's so difficult. You just kind of got to be in it for the long haul. I just really would encourage that person to be committed for probably 10 to 12 months. I mean, there's most people it takes that long even without the patches. So
Really?
at least commit that amount of time with the patches. You want to strengthen your immune system. So two things that are really valuable for that is glutathione and carnosine. Those are great antioxidants that are also going to help the immune system to respond accordingly. And obviously X39. So maybe you want to even rev up the dose a little bit. So maybe wear more than one X39 or X39 and X49. You just want to make sure the body's in, like Greg mentioned, in alignment, in homeostasis, and that it's in its ability to heal itself, because that's what's really going to take. And I mean, there's a lot of other things that I've heard about that is valuable for that situation, but I don't think it's appropriate for the conversation.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Jeff. And Michael's wondering what your recommendation might be for someone who has bumps under their armpit and inside their, shoulder, seems like they're attached to lymph nodes, if you have any recommendation.
Yeah, so guys, your axillary area and your inguinal area in between your legs, those are going to be your most powerful detoxifying areas. If you recognize, those are the ones that are going to be perspiring and malodorous and stuff when you get going. And so there's a lot of elimination that happens in those areas. And so there's a lot of great things around lymphatic drainage, lymphatic massage, rebounding, skin brushing, all of those sorts of things. But again, with the patches, glutathione is probably going to be really great for anybody who needs to, eliminate or increase the amount of detox that's happening. And X39, obviously, I mean, that's a constant, X39, guys, but glutathione is going to be helpful as well. SP6 goes really well. Sometimes, it has a lot of great benefits when you're eliminating things from the liver and the intestinal tract and things like that. It kind of, that person may or may not have some gut issues. So you may want to address, the biome with some probiotics and stuff like that. But, in general, those are the things they're going to be helpful. So try to find a good rebounder or a good massage therapist who focuses on lymphatics.
That's good. That makes really sense. They get some motion in there, get it moving, and bring in the energetic focus of the LifeWave patches.
To get it out, to eliminate it. So, it's like a two-step process. You have to get the lymph moving, and then you have to eliminate all of the heavy stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Christina's got another question. She's got a brand partner with a nephew. It involves a degeneration of motor neurons that control muscles, causing wasting and loss of voluntary muscle control. I don't know if you have any recommendation on that.
I actually do. There's a lady here in Dallas who I see with the same condition or very similar condition, and she has been doing much better with a whole host of patches. So I mean, we've almost patched her top to bottom, guys. So in those sort of congenital concerns, it's like you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. So you just want to really be aggressive. So X39, probably 2 if the pocketbook can afford it. And then X49 is going to be really great, right? There's some awesome muscle stimulating effects that happen with X49. And then the Y age group, that the eon, glutathione, and carnosine. So those 5 would probably be where I would start, and then see how that individual is progressing, and then you can make adjustments.
And what about the HAP protocol? Is that maybe something?
Absolutely, that would be great as well. Yeah, definitely.
I would think so. Great. Okay, so here's someone, Betty says, my ankle frequently gives out when I walk, accompanied by sharp pain in the ankle. It usually resolves in 1 to 5 minutes. But until then, I can't put any weight on it. Doctor says nothing's broken. There's nothing we can do. We're used to them saying that.
Typically with joint related problems, it's because there's not enough soft tissue in the joint, or there's not enough shock absorbers in the joint. and the friction of the bones coming together is causing pain, causing discomfort. It could also be inflammatory in nature, like an autoimmune concern. Either of those is going to be properly addressed with Eon and glutathione together, and then X39. So I don't know if there's a pattern. I didn't really pick up that there's a pattern that she noticed, and why it's hurtful, or why things may be difficult. But if you can find a way to get out in front of it and prevent it from happening in the first place, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Here's Norma says, I've been on X39 for about a year, and right now she's experiencing pain that I used to feel in my stomach when the problem first started years ago, wondering if this could be retracing.
I guess there's plausibility to that. Guys, we have decades and decades of stuff that's in there that we don't really know what's going on, So sometimes there can be an elimination or, a detox effect that happens. And it may not happen right at the beginning. It may take months or, a time period for our body to get to the point to where it's ready to release all of this stuff. So in general, I'm expecting healing crises, so that's likely what it is, but it may warrant getting checked out just to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah. It could be something else, could be something new. So that's good advice. Great. Older man with a stroke 13 years ago. Sounds like my brother, except he's not paralyzed. He just left side paralyzed and leg is swollen and painful.
So, two approaches, when you have a blockage of oxygen to the brain, whether it's a hemorrhagic stroke or whether it's embolic stroke, you're going to need to have some sort of therapy stimulation for the brain. So again, HAP protocol would be valuable. X39 is going to be valuable. And then if you want to, patch the affected area, you can also do that as well. So kind of a two-prong approach. You want to improve the sort of area where the offense originally took place. And then if you want to, work on the swelling and the pain in the leg, you can also do that. So, again, in those instances, you can use Ice Wave for the pain. You can use glutathione and Eon. It sounds like if there's some swelling, then there needs to be some glutathione and Eon there, because that's a great way to, reduce inflammation.
The HAP protocol is so valuable. I have one, I call it my thinking cap. I wear it for. How often do you think people should change out the patches in the hat?
So in general, Greg, I think 24 hours, a combined 24 hours is probably the best way. So if you wear the hat 6 hours a day, you can get 3 or 4 days out of it. Guys, my battery's running down, so bear with me. But I think that's probably the best way. Some people are not going to wear the hat that much, so maybe it's not the maybe you only get 4 days a week. I mean, it just kind of depends upon exactly how long the person is going to wear the hat. But it's difficult with some things to feel the difference, right? Sometimes you put the X39 on, you feel it. Other times you put the X39 on, you don't feel it. So it's maybe a little bit difficult to determine, well, is it still working? Is there still juice going? But normally with the hat, I agree with you. It's like my thinking cap, and I can recognize that, hey, I'm working at all cylinders. So if you don't feel that anymore, it's time to change.
Okay, there you go. That's good. It's time for me to change the patches in my hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Asher has a question about pain from a Baker's cyst and to regrow to cartilage in the meniscus.
Okay. So I would encourage you. We did a whole knee YouTube video.
Nice.
So I'm going to shamelessly plug my YouTube channel right now. But
Beautiful.
if you go to @AskDrJeffMD on YouTube, there's a whole archive of videos, and you can then just search within that archive for knee related stuff. But actually, this is great because now I'm sitting down and you can see my knee here. And so usually, you know, on either side below the kneecap, you have these soft spots in the knee.
Yeah.
You can put X39, glutathione, Eon in these places. You can go on top of the knee, you can go below the kneecap, but I recognize that there's this triangular position that's really powerful in acupuncture. So I like to put Ice Wave here and then glutathione and Eon together at the bottom.
Nice.
And that's really, really great to help with stubborn knees, stubborn, you know, pain, inflammation. But the X39 is going to be the key, guys, to get the cartilage and the soft tissue to redevelop. So just long-term X39, short-term would be Ice Wave and Eon or glutathione.
That's great, because she mentioned she's been using X39 for about a month and hasn't relieved the pain. But that's as we say, X39 is the long game. By maybe adding the Ice Wave and the Eon or glutathione is going to give her the pain relief and give the X39 a chance to do its magic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, guys, for those of you who are not familiar with a Baker's cyst, it happens on the back of the knee. So unfortunately, it's kind of difficult to patch the back of the knee because the nature of the knee is going to make the adhesive begin to dwindle because of the fact that you're bending your knee throughout the day. But if you can keep the leg extended, then you can actually patch on the back of the knee. There's a really powerful acupuncture location on the back of the knee that usually is right over where that cyst would develop. So you can try that.
And maybe that's a good nighttime protocol.
Yeah, exactly. While you're relaxing.
Yeah, you might stay awake, but it's a good time to keep your legs straight.
Exactly.
Okay, so Rose says she's got clients having severe disease on bones for 2 years. She shared X39, Eon, and Ice Wave, asking for any other recommendations you might have to help.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. Repeat that for me.
Okay, she's got a severe disease on bones for 2 years. She's already using X39, Eon, and Ice Wave, wondering if there's any other recommendations.
No, it's hard for me to pinpoint where things are. I think that's a really good combo. You know, maybe just add glutathione.
Now, maybe this is a good time to ask. Now, Dr. Jeff, do you do phone consultations?
I do, phone and Zoom.
Yeah, and so everybody knows he does charge for his time. He's a doctor, but you don't have to fly to Dallas to see him.
That's correct.
So, do you want to share your contact information briefly? What's the best way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, guys, I'm happy to announce that we just got a new site. It's AskDrJeffMD.com. And so you can ask questions there. You can book a consultation there. All the things. So please check that out. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. And it's a work in progress. So it's all about how to support you all. So the more feedback I get, the better it can be.
And one of the good things about a one-on-one consultation, all the FTC regulations that restrict us from talking about diseases, you can do one-on-one with a patient. So it's a really open environment there. So, you know, so I just mentioned that to you, Rose. That's a little complicated one to maybe address, but you may want to reach out personally to Dr. Jeff. So here, hi, Stacy, you're in your 4th week of struggling with chest congestion and horrible coughing. Any patch suggestions? She's been using 3949 Eon, glutathione, carnosine, energy, and Ice Wave. You've been going for it, honey.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I think, again, guys, this triangular thing is really a powerful synergistic process in acupuncture that I've been reading about. So, you know, I'm no acupuncturist by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been reading a lot to kind of help recommend how the patches should be aligned and oriented. So here, right where the shoulder meets the chest muscle is lung 1 on either side. So you can use energy enhancer, you can use Ice Wave at those 2 points, and then right here in the center. So the landmark is supposed to be at the nipple line. So, I mean, everybody's nipple line is different, but right here in the center of the sternum. So that makes this triangle, right?
Yeah.
And so if you patch, Ice Wave and X39 or Energy Enhancer and X39, those are really great ways to address chest congestion, lung issues, any sort of infection of the lungs or anything like that. That's where I've been very successful. Both personally, I very rarely get sick, but the one time a couple of years ago that I did have some lung stuff and some coughing, I was able to really bring myself out of it by patching those areas. And what really truly did the trick is I put 3 X39s. That was when I really noticed, wow, I'm coming out of this thing. I went for the gusto. I pulled out all the big guns.
That's good. Yeah, and I guess you could alternate the energy during the day and the
Ice Wave at night. Yep. Exactly.
And in the center, you could put X39 during the day and maybe the Eon at night. Did you? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly. I just was kind of interchanging them to not have more than 12 hours of the same one on at a time.
Okay. Well, we're a quarter to the hour have gone, and this is typically about a 45-minute call. So I'm just going to skip through a few of them, and we'll do one or two more. My eyes turned gray about 12 years ago. Your eyes turned gray, and now a year on X39 and SP6, my brown eye color is returning. Woohoo! Also, my cataract in both eyes is now gone.
Wow.
Can you explain what happened with my eye color why my eye colors turn gray?
I cannot. I can hypothesize, but I don't even want to waste everybody's time with what I think may happen. But again, this is a part of that cellular intelligence that we were talking about at the beginning of the call. I think that genetically there's these things that are happening that only we can imagine what's happening inside all of our cells. And when they start to produce these healthy proteins, healthy enzymes and things like that, the body is responding to all of this. And you see all of these dramatic changes. So what's happening with your eyes for somebody else may be happening with their gut or their cardiovascular system or what have you. For some reason, your body's prioritizing, what you're seeing on the surface.
Great. So to find you, people just go to YouTube and search for Ask Dr. Dr. Ask Dr. Jeff MD, correct?
Correct. And that'll take you right to my channel.
Beautiful, beautiful. And your new website, what's that again?
Same, AskDrJeffMD.com.
There you go. Beautiful. Okay. Well, I guess we'll bring it in for a landing. This has been very fun.
Always.
I'm kind of glad Robin couldn't do it tonight. It's always fun to be with you, Jeff.
Same man. Looking forward to seeing you at convention in the flesh next month.
Yeah, how fun that's going to be. And we're only 22 days from now, or 23 days, right?
The countdown has begun.
It has begun. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This is always a great call every Tuesday. And if you need some personal consultation, Dr. Jeff's there for you. So thanks everyone. Thanks, Jeff. God bless you.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jeff. Thank you.
Bye,
Gregory.
everybody.
Thank you.
Great call.
Awesome call. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great call. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So good to see everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.